Hello and welcome back everybody to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to design and draw reveal style wheels for the CO2 car as one of your options for your wheel design. The last time we spoke, in my last lesson, I showed you how to do shell wheels, which are wheels that are drilled from the inside out, but reveal wheels, which we're going to talk about today, are drilled from the outside in. So let's take a look at this description here on the CO2 car design process, AutoCAD and pencil drawings consideration sheet, which is found in the hub. So reveal wheels. If you want your rear wheels to be totally inside the car body, use a 5/8 offset per side. And if you want half of your wheels outside your body of your car, use 5/16 offset. Okay, so let's deal with the rears first. Now, one thing to note, if we go into project outline, CO2 car rear and front wheel wells are the same sizes used in the shell drawing. So we're using, again, 1 3/4 for the rear, 1 1/2 for the front. So nothing has changed in terms of diameter. So when we start with our drawing, we're going to use center diameter. We're going to start with our side view, snap the center of the axle hole, and then draw a circle at 1 3/4. And again, another center diameter circle for the front, and the front is 1 1/2 inches. As before, we're going to trim the bottom arc from the bottom of the CO2 car. And our center line is going to be gripped and extended 1/4 inch along this vertical quadrant and this horizontal quadrant on both sides. So make sure, if this isn't on, go into your Object Snap settings here, right click, left click Object Snap settings, and make sure Quadrant Snap is turned on to allow this to happen. If it is, hit OK. Mine's already turned on. And I'm going to pick the center line and I'm going to grip it 1/4 inch. Now I'm not going to be doing that here because there's no arc to extend this part of the center line forward. It's already gripped 1/4 inch beyond the quadrant of the smaller axle hole. So I'm going to be ignoring the bottom vertical center line. 1/4 inch. Then this is the last one. Grip to the ear, midpoint, go up 1/4 inch. Okay, so that takes care of that. Moving on, I'm going to use a line tool, go to the quadrant, draw the line up to perpendicular, and I'm going to do the same thing here. These lines are going to be turned into hidden lines, and I'm going to trim them. Instead of drawing a line from this quadrant up, I'm just going to offset the last two lines. So we're using 1 3/4 at the back. Right click, repeat offset, and then we're going to use 1 1/2 at the front. Okay. Now, the sheet said that we would use 5/16 at the rear if we want half our wheels to sit outside the body and half of the wheels to sit inside the body. So let's start with that. So we're going to go 5/16 offset. Offset this line up and this one down. We're going to trim this line and this line are going to become hidden. And we're also going to be trimming between these two lines as boundaries. And so in this case, this section is solid and this section is shelled out on the exterior side. So we have a little bit more to do. We have to trim the axle hole that's sitting inside the 1 3/4 diameter on each side. So we're going to trim the axle hole here and here, and there I have it. So that's how that would look correctly. That is a reveal style wheel design. And if I measure this, I'm getting 5/16 per side. So this is an offset you can use if you want to have half your wheels inside your car, half your wheels outside your car. Now, what would it look like if you wanted all of those wheels inside the blank, right? We would have to increase our offset value. So what we can do is erase these lines, and we can use the 5/8 offset this time. And again, offset like this. These lines here are turned into hidden lines, and we have to extend this line perpendicular to the perpendicular snap. And then trim. And then we're going to trim again. And that's what that would look like if you wanted the wheels totally inside your blank. So a little deeper, we've got 5/8 per side. And that leaves us with 3/8 of axle hole for our wheel bushings. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the front now. So let's take a look at our design consideration sheet once more here. So it says if you want your front wheels to be totally inside your car body, use a 7/16 offset per side. And if you want half of the wheels outside your car body, use a 7/32. Okay, so a 7/32, that would be quite shallow. We'll start with that. And it's the same deal as before. We're going to make these lines hidden. We are going to trim on either side of the 1.5 inch exterior boundaries here. We're going to trim between these two lines for the depth. And then lastly, this line and this line, which are for drill depth, are going to be used as boundaries to trim away the axle hole passing through air. So that's what your front would look like if you wanted half your wheels sitting inside and half your wheels sitting outside. And let's just finish. Let's just do what we did to the back to the front. Let's take a look at the full drill depth size. So that is 7/16. Looks like this. So again, make these lines hidden. Use a grip. Snap these drill depth vertical lines to the perpendicular snap. And then we're going to be eliminating these two lines. We're going to be trimming away what we don't need. This line, this line, this line, and this line. Then lastly, these two lines as boundaries to trim away this extra axle hole depth. And that's what that looks like. Now, just because you see these numbers I've given you here doesn't mean you have to use them. This is not set in stone, these numbers. So you could actually, if you wanted, you could drill your front axles deeper if you'd like than I'm showing here. Or more shallow, or you can even drill these holes deeper if you'd like. It doesn't really matter. I'm not going to be marking it wrong if you don't use the offset values that I showed you today. The only thing that I care about is if it's being shown correctly, the correct orthographic projection, and that these features are lining up properly with one another. Meaning, if I drew a line from here, would I meet the edge of my axle hole? Yes, I do. Right? So that's how I check these things. So again, I can draw a line from here, come down, and go to the quadrant of my side view wheel well. So drafting orthographic projection is very important. The numbers you pick for your drill depths are not so much. So just wanted to clear that up. I just want you to know that you're the designer and you have more control over this project than I think sometimes the student will realize. But that is how you show a reveal style wheel design. And the next time we talk, we'll talk about hybrid wheels. Take care for now.